Yes, Mr.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just a reminder for the record, when we parted on the 21st, Mr. Matlala had asserted his right to supplement, and in fact, he had made certain undertakings to supplement his original statement. Mr. Matlala, do you have before you file 1, which should read Regulation 10.6 Statement and Annexure? That's the original file with your statement.
Can I please check?
You will recall that in dealing with that statement, we first had regard to the Regulation 10.6 notice that had been issued, to which was annexed a schedule with a list of names and names of individuals. And you had been requested in the 10.6 to explain any relationship you have with any one of them. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
And in the course of considering the contents of your statement, it became apparent that you hadn't addressed some of the persons listed in Schedule A. And you undertook to do so in your supplementary statement. Do you recall?
Yes, I recall.
And that's the basis on which we parted, Chair, on the 21st, that he will supplement and provide detail on such individuals that he had not addressed in Schedule A. At the same time, that's when a decision was taken that they will institute this application to raise preliminary points, which they did. The challenge we have, as much as we expected Mr. Matlala and his team to file 2 separate documents, one being a supplement to his original statement and the other being the application raising the in limine points, they combined the 2 to create one document. We have attempted to look at that affidavit that they have filed in support of the application to get a sense of what would constitute supplementation for the purposes that I have highlighted. And with your leave then, Chair, I would invite perhaps Mr. Matlala to address the relationships of the various individuals as reflected in this affidavit, but only those aspects of this affidavit and not read the entire affidavit as if it is a supplementary statement, if that is acceptable. Mr. Matlala, that was communicated to you, I think, by your legal team, that that's how we propose to deal with this matter of supplementation.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Now, if you have your list, then Schedule A to the Regulation 10.6 at page 7, you recall we marked those that you had addressed. There is a list of them that you did not address, items 13, I think, to 25, on the basis that, to 24, I think, on the basis that they are your co-accused in the Medicare matter.
Yes, that's correct.
So then, if you look at your affidavit in support of this application brought on your behalf, that would be in the second file, and that file would be marked application for immunity, supplementary affidavit. Do you have it close by?
Yes, I have it.
When I cast my eye on that, I see that up until page 10, you deal with, page 12, you deal generally with the basis on which you move this application and you are setting off your constitutional rights. You address for the first time at page 13 the issue of EMPD. And you recall that if you look at the Schedule A at page 7, at item 28, you were requested to speak about Commissioner Julius Mkwanazi. Yes, Commissioner Julius Mkwanazi. And you had been requested to provide an explanation of your interactions and business engagements with such entities as the EMPD, that is at item 2.1.6 of the 10.6 regulation notice. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
Now you respond to that then at page 13, starting at your paragraph 62. I would invite you then to read into the record by way of supplementing your original statement, paragraph 62 to 65.
I have responded to this question in my previous affidavit. I have been advised to also place on record that I am a suspect in case involving the EMPD, and I therefore do not wish to answer any question regarding my interaction with the EMPD. I attach here to a copy of a statement deposed to by Intervision Cordelia Kabeng, from which it is evident that I am a suspect in a case under investigation by members of the IPID, under case number 262/2023, relating to the unlawful fitting and usage of blue lights. A copy of the statement is annexed here to marked VMSA1. Other companies, I have not done any business with the aforesaid entities through any of my other companies.
Thank you. I'll then propose we jump to page 14 from paragraph 71. Under 71, you say, in respect of the individuals I list herein under, I wish to amplify my original affidavit, and then you detail the individuals. Could you read the headings and the relevant sub-paragraphs to the name into the record, starting with sub-paragraph 71.1?
I have answered this question when I gave evidence.
Read the name as well.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Minister Senzo Mchunu, I have answered this question when I gave evidence. Former Minister Becky Cele, I have partly answered this question when I gave evidence. I do, however, wish to state that I am a suspect in a matter under investigation which relates to my interaction with him, as was made clear to me during my questioning by IDEC and as was later recorded in the statement I made in terms of the provisions of Section 2 of the CPA. Former General Komoto Patlani, I have answered this question when I gave evidence. Lieutenant General Madlanga Commission, I have partly answered this question when I gave evidence. I do, however, wish to state that I am an accused in a matter on trial pending before the Johannesburg High Court under case number SS98/2025. I have also noted that Lieutenant General Madlanga Commission has stated under oath that he recorded the conversation we had on the day I met him. I now invite him to disclose this recording to Commission so everyone can hear firsthand what happened on that day. I respectfully point out that I do not understand why such an important piece of evidence have not yet been subpoenaed or voluntarily handed over to the Commission. Lieutenant General Mule Fefani, I have dealt with this issue in my previous affidavit. Major General Feroz Khan, I have answered this question when I gave evidence.
Thank you. I would then, on my reading, it would appear that we should take it from paragraph 72, because you are responding directly to the paragraphs in the subpoena. You start with paragraph 2.3.2, and just to quickly remind you, that had required you to speak of your involvement in the incident of delivery of impalas to General Sibia and any other forms of gratification given to General Sibia. You deal with that at paragraph 72? 72 and up to 74. Thank you.
I'm a suspect in a matter under investigation which relates to my interaction with him, as was made clear to me during my questioning by IDEC and as was later recorded in the statement I made in terms of the provisions of Section 204 of the CPA. One of the matters related inter alia directly to the issue of the imbalance. Another of the matters relates to payments of gratification.
And then that would take us then to your response to paragraph 2.3.3, and this concerned the circumstances in which Sergeant Ngosi came in possession of your Luxor Africa bank card. You deal with that at paragraph 75.
Luxor is a co-accused of mine in the Medicare matter, and therefore I cannot comment and or provide any evidence relating to that matter. I therefore exercise my constitutional right not to answer any questions regarding the said matter, as same will violate my constitutional fair trial rights under Section 35, including my right to silence.
And proceeding then to your paragraph 76 to 78 in response to paragraph 2.3.4 of the Regulation 10.6 notice, which required you to speak of your involvement in the loan or funding agreement entered into with Mr. Sulem Karim on or about June 2024.
I have given instructions to my legal team to endeavor to obtain relevant paperwork on the matter relating Mr. Karim. At the time of signing this affidavit, they had not yet obtained anything, and I thus observe my right to supplement this affidavit regarding this aspect. Notwithstanding a thorough search of the records in my possession, I was unable to obtain any documents relevant to the question under reply.
Thank you for that. That will then bring us to a response to paragraph 2.3.5 of the Regulation 10.6 notice, which had asked you to comment on your appearance at the ad hoc committee and whether you were ever induced, threatened, or influenced to give false evidence, including the details of who induced or threatened you to give false testimony, when, how, and for what purpose. You deal with that from paragraph 79 to 83 at page 17, if you could read those into the record.
May I just quickly raise something, Mr. Matlala? It relates to paragraph 77, saying that you thus observe your right to supplement this affidavit regarding the aspect you are dealing with there. I'm not altogether sure that it's a matter of right for you to supplement. Perhaps this is a legal question which maybe Ms. Missy should respond to. And I've seen this point being made a good few times in this affidavit. It was already an indulgence for you to supplement, and something that I granted or allowed without any reservations. I just want to avoid a situation where it's suggested that it's something that should happen as of right. Ms. Missy?
Chairperson, this directly relates to him claiming the rights of privilege in terms of Section 3.4. We would be required to show or give factual basis why it is that he wants to claim it. But in order for him to do so, he needed us to find that piece of information that he wanted us to research and provide to him so that we can confirm, in order to allow him, or rather enable him, to claim his right before this commission when it relates to issues that have to do with Mr. Karim.
I read this differently, Ms. Missy. I read this to be saying Mr. Matlala is asserting a right to supplement the content of his affidavit with regard to the issue being raised about Mr. Karim. I did not understand that to relate to the privilege that Mr. Matlala is claiming, or am I misreading this?
Chairperson, you are correct insofar as that he's asserting a right to supplement the affidavit in order for him to be able to claim the right of privilege, because as it stands, he has informed that with regards to why he would want to claim the right to privilege. But in order for us to do so, we'd have to lay facts to it as previously argued rather on last week Monday, but we were not able yet to obtain the information that he needs. And so it put us in a position where we had to answer how would we then later deal with it if and when we do obtain that information that would put the commission into light that indeed he's either suspect or an accused, and therefore he would be in a position to claim the right to privilege.
Can you please take me through paragraphs 76 to 78 and show me where it's intimated that with regard to Mr. Karim, Mr. Matlala wants to raise the issue of privilege?
Chairperson,
Again, I repeat, I'm probably misreading or
no, Chairperson,
misunderstanding.
I agree with you that it doesn't categorically say so. I'm simply explaining why it is that he was asserting that right with regards to claiming.
I guess my point is, where do you get that? Where do you get what you are saying? Because I do not see it in paragraphs 76 to 78.
Chairperson, in that instance, the only submission that I can make is that should we have come across or should we obtain that piece of information, then the supplementary affidavit, he would then refer to it to say the reason why I had asserted such a right was because of this facts that are now being averred in this affidavit and or statement, Chairperson.
Let's leave it there. I do not understand you. Let's leave it there.
Thank you.
Mr. Matlala, do you want Ms. Sillo to repeat a question, or are you in a position to go ahead and respond?
No, it's okay, I can go ahead.
Thank you.
Chair, before we do, I
Yes.
think perhaps in fairness to Mr. Matlala, we should consider the contents of his paragraph 17 in the original statement regarding this loan and the loan agreement. And in that paragraph, he states, I'm of the view that I may incriminate myself by answering questions related to this loan agreement, as I believe it forms part of the Medicare criminal matter which is pending before court. It's just that my reading of paragraph 76 and 78 don't tie back to the answer given in there, and instead they speak mainly of the right to supplement.
Yes,
which doesn't answer the chair's question. But
Which
I
is what
thought to bring
caused me to raise the question.
To bring to your attention.
But thank you for
Thank you.
for that, Mr. Yes, Mr. Matlala.
So then you have read your paragraph 76 to 78 of your affidavit into the record to supplement your original response to paragraph 2.3.4. That then will take us to 2.3.5. And at the time, 2.3.5 called on you to speak to your appearance at the ad hoc committee and inquired whether or not you had ever been induced, threatened, or influenced to give false evidence. And if so, that you provide the details of who induced or threatened you to give false testimony, when, how, and for what purpose. You respond to that specific question in the affidavit at page 16, starting from paragraph 79 to 83.
I am not responding to this question for the following reasons. When I attended the ad hoc committee, I was not yet arrested and charged as an accused on the Medicare matter. I was also unaware of the fact that I was a suspect on some of the issues I was questioned on. It has now emerged that I am a suspect in a matter I was then questioned on, and the same are under investigation, as was made clear to me during my questioning by IDEC, and as was later recorded in the statement I made in terms of the provisions of the Section 204 of the CPA. I therefore state categorically that I'm not prepared to answer any question I have previously answered on which I have now been charged or in which I am a suspect. Answering such questions now will violate my rights to a fair trial and my right to silence and my right not to incriminate myself. I have also been made aware of the fact that stand to be accused of having made previous inconsistent statements, and more importantly, that I can be charged with perjury if I deal with any of the ad hoc issues.
If I can just, by way of seeking clarity, you do note that if one has regard to the question posed to you at paragraph 2.3.5, you haven't answered the key question there whether or not you were induced, threatened, or influenced by anyone. Should I understand you correctly that your position is you cannot answer definitively to that question because any response you give thereto, you run the risk of incriminating yourself?
Yes, Commissioner, you're right.
Including an answer that says, no, I was not induced.
My worry is if I say no or yes, then the next question, let's hypothetically saying I'm saying yes. The next question will be by who and then why. And part of those who and why might somehow end up incriminating myself.
Okay. We will come back to the issue in the fullness of time. Just wanted to get some clarity. If you recall, then moving on at paragraph 2.3.6, you were asked to comment on the recording of your interrogation on December 2024 and May 2025 by witness C or any other police officers who interrogated you after the arrest. You deal with that at page 17 at paragraphs 84 to 86.
I have been provided with copies of any of the recordings of my interrogations, whether the same way in December 2024, May 2025, or thereafter. I have dealt with this issue above. Legal argument will be made on this issue as to why I should not answer any questions relating to these recordings.
When you say this issue has been dealt with above, you mean in the body of this affidavit, where it is suggested, as the affidavit does, from paragraph 41, that you intend to launch a challenge to the seizure of your cell phones, as well as your challenge to... Now, I just see the cell phones. Where you say above, where do you deal with the issue of the recordings? Oh, you do please refer to page 9, paragraph 35. You stated paragraph 35, I have learned as a result of information obtained from the commission that the subs have obtained a number of statements from me in violation of my constitutional rights contained in section 35. And then you reference certain recordings. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
So if then I reread your paragraphs 84 to 85.
Maybe, Ms. Lo.
Yes.
The paragraph 35 is about statements, but if you go back, paragraph 32 and 33, that's where it speaks of recordings. So it distinguishes, Mr. Matlala distinguishes recordings and statements.
Yes, at 32 it says here, I only learned later that the interrogation of me and my responses were electronically recorded at the time.
Yes.
Do you see where Commissioner Baloyi is directing you to?
Paragraph 32.
Paragraph 32 of the
Yes,
same document
yes,
we are looking
yes.
at page 8. And you say this recording and a transcript thereof was made available to my legal team after it was requested from the commission. So I'm saying, regard being heard to what you state at paragraphs 32 to 36, that's the basis on which you say you've dealt with the issue above at paragraph 85, and that legal argument will be made on the issue as to why I should not answer any questions relating to these recordings. You state that at your paragraph 86.
Yes.
So your response to paragraph 2.3.6 then, that to clarify, is dependent on the determination by the commissioners and the chair as regards your claim, your suggestion that your rights were violated as set out in paragraphs 32 to 38. You will not answer until the question of the suggested violation of your constitutional rights is determined by the commissioners.
Yes, but not only that, Commissioner. Also because those recordings, it has been made clear in court that they are currently under investigation. So we do not know which part of the recordings are under investigation. So I cannot recklessly just answer a specific question, not knowing whether is it the one that is under investigation or not.
Perhaps if you could say slightly more, under investigation by who?
This was said in court, so I will assume that it is the same investigating officers that are investigating my current case that I'm attending in the Johannesburg High Court.
So they are also investigating these recordings.
Yes.
Could we request, perhaps to your legal representatives, to obtain that portion of the transcript
Of course, yes.
in court? Because I'm not sure I understand what you mean by the claim that the recordings are under investigation. So perhaps if we get the transcripts, I might gain a better understanding.
It's okay, we'll get the transcripts, but also during the disclosure, it was during the pre-trial actually. So when it was during the disclosure of the docket, and then we've noticed that there were no recordings there, and then my counsel requested for those recordings, and then the state advocate said, no, they cannot issue us those recordings because they are a separate matter, they are under investigation. But as you said, we will get the transcripts and then it will explain everything.
And I think just so we don't talk past one another, we would appreciate those transcripts by tomorrow, so that when we resume tomorrow, we know what the actual position is and how we engage with you on this matter.
That will be very hard for me to promise that I can be in possession of those things by tomorrow. Because, as you know, I don't have access to any... When I leave here, I'm going straight to CMAX, so I won't be able to make any telephone calls, but I will ask that after we adjourn here, then I at least consult with my legal counsel, and then I will ask them to get that on my behalf.
Hence, I specified that I think the request is more to your legal team through you, because I appreciate your position, but I would like to believe that your legal representatives are in a position to obtain the relevant transcripts that assist you in this regard and assist the Commission to understand how to deal with the matter of the recordings.
Yes, but also I will suggest, please, let it not be something that will be required the first thing in the morning, because obviously if you look at time now, they are going to request them tomorrow morning, maybe around 11, 12, then we'll be in possession of those transcripts.
Let me quickly raise a matter of clarity, Ms. Silo. If I did not misunderstand you, I thought you said something about the Commission making a decision on the question of the lawfulness or otherwise of the manner in which the contested evidence was obtained. I'm sorry. Or did I misunderstand you?
No, it's not. I don't say that. I say
Okay.
in his affidavit,
Yes,
he
okay.
suggests that is an
Okay.
issue he's going to raise before yourselves.
Okay. Let me tell you my understanding. You'll correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding was that the decision that he says he's seeking is a decision that will be made by the court on the lawfulness or otherwise of the manner in which the evidence was obtained. And with us, he's then saying, until that has happened, the Commission should be barred altogether to traverse that terrain. So a decision on the lawfulness or otherwise is not one that should be made by the Commission.
Indeed, Chair, I agree
All
with
right.
you. I was
Okay,
reading from
okay.
his affidavit, which is what I had understood.
Yes.
Him to suggest in the affidavit, but I'll hasten to add that this is part of the legal argument and the points raised in limine
Yes,
that I understand perhaps are still to be argued before yourselves. So I would park that issue.
Okay.
But he had, the affidavit seems to suggest that it's a legal argument to be made to yourselves. And there,
All right, okay.
Chair, you will see at paragraph 40, says full legal argument will be made to the commission on this issue.
Maybe we should not open that door. We should
Yes.
wait to hear if anybody will still raise that issue because we are hearing the evidence now.
Indeed,
So
Chair.
maybe who knows? Maybe nobody will go back to that now that we are hearing the evidence. And Miss Missy said what will be raised will be the question of the privilege.
And what I sought to establish here
Yes.
is the basis, because it's not articulated in the papers.
Yes.
And that's when Mr. Matlala raises the question of the recordings being under investigation. So that's what I was trying to tease
Okay, all
out,
right, all right.
to understand who's investigating and where he learnt that from.
All right. Yes, Miss Missy.
If I may, Chairperson, we wanted to address the issue with regards to the practicality of getting those transcripts. Because what would happen is that the attorneys would have to put in a request from the transcribers, as I'm instructed, to obtain that recording from the courts. I forgot what the title is to the individual who does the recordings, and then obtain it, at which point would then get access to it. So to say that would have it by 12 o'clock tomorrow, perhaps it would be overambitious of us to assume that it's even practically possible. And if we make that undertaking, then it comes back and it may seem as if we're trying to frustrate the process, but practically it doesn't seem possible that we'd have it tomorrow. They are obtainable, it's just a matter of the
Yeah,
timeline.
The timing, yeah. Unless things have improved significantly from the time I was last in practice, I think I agree with Miss Missy on the practicalities.
I'm willing to accept that. I'm going to challenge her on that, except then there is a gap in the logic that is set out in the affidavit. So perhaps in the course of argument, we might be assisted with more facts to support what is set out in his paragraphs 84 to 86.
Thank you, Ms. Solo.
Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, if I might make a suggestion that would try and aid and or assist the commission in moving forward whilst we wait for that recording, because there's an attorney of record who was present at those proceedings, would it be of any use for him to address that particular point, because he's heard what was said in the ruling or other judgment made with regards to that? If it would be of any use, we perhaps could assist.
I don't think so, because this is a matter of evidence, and Ms. Silo is engaging Mr. Matlala at the level of testimony by Mr. Matlala.
The only issue I seek to establish, and I think it was triggered by Mr. Matlala's response, that the recordings are a subject of an investigation. So that's the only clarity I seek. Who is investigating? What does that mean, that they are subject of investigating, and who is investigating? And that is because when I engage Mr. Matlala on these issues, I will seek to persuade the commission that to the extent that they may be under investigation, that does not preclude Mr. Matlala from speaking on these matters, because it's the recordings, according to him, that are under investigation. It's not him per se who's under investigation. So I'll leave it there for the moment, Chair. When we come back, we perhaps will get better insight.
Mr. Maybe before you then move on, now that we seem to be agreed that we won't have the transcript anytime soon, then maybe let me ask my clarification question. Mr. Matlala, the investigation that you speak of into these recordings, is it by the state or by your legal representatives?
The investigation.
Yeah, you said that there's an investigation about
Yes.
these tapes
Yeah.
or these recordals of you. Is it an investigation by the state or by your legal team?
By the state.
Is it by the state?
Yes.
And what in particular is being investigated about them? What was said is going to be investigated?
That is something that I don't know, but what I know is they just said that whatever has been I've mentioned in those recordings, for those things I'm being investigated. So I cannot tell what is it exactly what they're investigating there.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And then lastly, at that paragraph 84, Ms. Silo, it's either a word is missing or a word that is there shouldn't be there. 84 reads, I have been provided with copies of any recordings of my interrogation, whether same in December, May.
I
or
think of
thereafter.
any are the words that shouldn't.
Have you been provided with recordings?
Yes.
You have. Okay, so we must take out, I have been provided with copies of the recordings. That's how it should read. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That then will take us to your paragraphs 87 and 88. You are responding to paragraph 2.4 of the Regulation 10.6 notice, which required you to speak to the nature and extent of your relationship with the EMPD, including individuals employed therein, including agreements actual or negotiated with individuals within the EMPD, donation of vehicles and installation of use of vehicles fitted with blue lights, in particular who was involved, what the plan was, what became of the plan, and ultimately the use of vehicles fitted with blue lights and the use of peace officer cards. That's what was asked of you. You deal with that at page 17, paragraphs 87 and 88. If you could read those.
I have indicated above that I do not wish to deal with or answer any questions on this issue of EMPD. I refer to what I have stated above and the statement I attach here to deposed to by Ntabiseng Cordelia Kabeng.
And for the record, that affidavit of Ntabiseng Cordelia appears at page 20 of that same file, your VMSA 1, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And just to confirm, again for the record, this affidavit of Ntabiseng Cordelia speaks to the issue of use of blue lights only.
Yes.
Now, the question posed to you was at paragraph 2.4 was actually a compound question. There were other issues that are unrelated to the issue of the blue lights that you were required to speak to, but once again, you have failed to.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's not only the fitting of blue lights, it's any involvement with the EMPD, because I said before on last week Monday, maybe that's why it's not on this affidavit, that there are people who are currently facing criminal charges for not only the blue lights, it's a peace officer cards and blue lights, and I think the donation. And as a result, also my name has been mentioned there. I heard the spokesperson of SAPS mentioning my name there.
So, in regard to these other matters, are you suggesting you are an accused or a suspect because you had your name mentioned? Are you able
Not an
to
accused.
clarify?
Not an accused. I will say a suspect or a person of interest.
And as a matter of interest, in all these other cases besides the blue lights, which you have explained why you can't address, why do you consider yourself a suspect?
Like I said, there are people already who have been charged with those issues that you just mentioned.
And those people don't include you. So why do you suspect you're a suspect?
The investigation is mentioning my name.
Okay. We shall revert in time.
Maybe just to get confirmation, Ms. Kabeng says the investigation is by iPad. You confirm that?
Yes.
That she was interviewed by iPad and they told her they're investigating.
Yes, I confirm that.
Thank you.
We then go to your paragraph 88, still at paragraph 89, still at your affidavit starting at page 17, and there you are dealing with the contents of paragraph 2.5. And from paragraph 88, you then deal with your relationship with 4 other people. So if you could read the name of the person you whose relationship you speak of, and then you deal with the contents of the paragraph immediately following the person's name.
I will start with Jotham Musibi.
Yes.
I knew Jotham Musibi purely as a person to whom I rendered security services. I never had business with him. I know Ignatius Motagati, Andrew Boy Mutetwa, and Katiso Molefe purely by virtue of the fact that I came across them and were introduced to them on occasions by Jotham Musibi, to whom I rendered security services. I never had any business dealings with them. I never sat around talking to them. I do not know any about their personal life or the business they are involved in.
Now, before you deal with the next person, at 89, you say you knew Mr. Msibi purely as a person to whom you rendered security services. I never had business with him. What do you mean by that last line, that you never had any business with him or businesses?
I will say I never had I attempted, yes, to do business with him, but it never materialized. So I never had any business without rendering security services with him.
And then while you are on that, what businesses did you attempt to have with him that did not materialize?
To purchase a private jet.
Yes. Any other?
No, it's only that.
Only that one.
Yes.
Were you then ever involved in any of his business dealings?
No.
Okay. Thank you. You then, from paragraph 91, at paragraph 91, deal with your relationship with the next person. If you could identify them and then read your paragraph 91 into the record.
Mike van Wyk. He was my business partner and is a witness in the Medicare matter. I am therefore exercising my constitutional right as an accused not to respond to or answer any questions pertaining to him or our relationship.
Now, he was your partner in the Medicare matter, and you say you are exercising your constitutional rights. I just want to understand, is this an exercise of constitutional rights in respect of any and all affairs of Medicare? Or is it only in respect of the SAPS contract for which you are currently facing charges?
Yes, only the SAPS contract.
Only the SAPS contract. Thank you. You proceed then to deal with the next person, and at paragraph, you identify them and deal with their relationship at paragraph 92, or your relationship with them.
Baron Mohoti, I have answered this aspect when I gave evidence.
So in effect, you're saying you've got nothing further to add to what you've already stated?
Yes.
Then lastly, I think at paragraphs 93 and 94, it's the last person.
Angwani Morgan Maumela and Suleiman Karim. My legal team is in the process of collating evidence in respect of the said persons, which will enable me to move fully with awareness of an explanation of my rights, answer questions about them. I thus reserve my right to supplement this affidavit. I reserve my right to provide the Commission with any further and supplementary sworn statements necessary in these proceedings.
Can I just clarify paragraph 93? You say your legal team, quote, is in the process of collating evidence in respect of these persons being Mr. Hlangwani Morgan Maumela and Mr. Suleiman Karim, which will enable you to more fully, with awareness of and an explanation of your rights, answer questions about them, end of quote. Can you say that in simpler English? What do you mean? I understand that they're in the process of collating evidence in respect of these persons, but I'm not sure I understand the remainder of that sentence. Are you able to assist? What do you mean that the evidence that they are collating will enable you to more fully, with awareness of and an explanation of your rights, answer questions about them?
I think this is a typing error.
Okay.
Commissioner.
So I'm not that bad. Let's try and correct it. What did you wish to express?
Documents that will support that I do not wish to answer these questions because of self-incrimination. This morning, I've managed to get a document that I already supplied to my legal counsel.
I'm not sure I understand. It's a very cryptic answer you've just given. So I'm not sure I understand.
What I'm trying to explain to you is,
Yes.
like the first sentence saying that I'm in the process of collecting evidence.
Yes.
So maybe I was supposed to say documents that will prove that I'm a suspect and I'm being under investigation together with Mr. Maumela and also with Suleiman Karim.
Okay. So, okay, I think I understand. So then you say your legal team is in the process actually of collecting documents that will demonstrate and prove that you are a suspect. I take it in some alleged criminal wrongdoing together with, not together, with Mr. Maumela and or Mr. Karim. Is my understanding correct?
With Mr. Maumela, Chairperson, sorry, Commissioner, if you can remember, last week I already touched on the Suleiman matter, and then you asked that I should bring an unsigned, what is it? An unsigned
Loan agreement?
Loan agreement.
Yes.
So this is what I had that loan agreement, but I couldn't just find it. So what I had is only the document in relation with Mr. Maumela.
Okay, now, so you say that those documents will prove you a suspect. A suspect in what? Or which cases?
Suspect in, I think it is money laundering, I think.
And that is in relation to both the persons identified there?
Only with Maumela.
Or with Mr. Maumela? And when can we expect these documents to be submitted? Because you say that your legal team is in the process of collating them.
They are already in possession of those documents.
Okay. I take it that they're in possession of the documents with a view to share with the Commission.
They will advise on that because they are under investigation. I don't know.
Or you just gave the documents to your
Chairperson, if I may be allowed to address the Commission in relation to that.
Yeah.
We couldn't just take it off word that he says that he's a suspect, and we needed to confirm before he would be able to make such an allegation of vermin before the Commission. And so he had to look for the document, which unfortunately, as I stated, he was unable to give it to us, the team yesterday. This morning, he did give us the document, and it places us in a position where we can give, or rather, he can make that statement on affidavit that he is a suspect and would be claiming his rights to privilege in terms of section 3(4). Sorry.
Now,
Would
is
need to
it-
supplement, if I may, would need to supplement his affidavit so that he's able to make those averments and give you the correct facts.
so is it the intention of Mr. Matlala and or his legal representatives to share the actual document that demonstrates he's a suspect?
Ms. Missy?
Chairperson, the issue that we're having is that we haven't properly looked at the document to determine whether, to what extent he can claim his right to a privilege. So provisionally, I would say yes, provided that we get a timeline in which we are informed that the supplementary affidavit needs to be in at a particular time. And then it allows us to look into the document and determine there isn't everything that's privileged, that this allows us to hand it over to the commission.
Is there any problem sharing it with the evidence leaders right away?
Chairperson, I have not looked at it in detail. It's a document that immediately after we had engaged, we came down, he handed it over to me. I quickly glanced over it, so I can't answer that question definitively.
Is it a privileged document? Because if it is not, I would not understand why it cannot be shared immediately.
Chairperson, I suppose if you have to ask if it is a privileged document, I do not believe so, because the investigators would have a copy of it
Then it
as
should
well.
just be shared with the evidence leaders. So as you look whether there is a basis for claiming privilege, the evidence leaders will be looking at the document for themselves as well.
Noted. Share them on those bases. We should be able to share it.
It will be shared this afternoon still.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Advocate Missy. I think it should, because as things happen in the commission, documents become available and they are added to the exhibit bundle. So too, regardless of their source, so too shall this one. And this document is important. As a result, I'll have to park the issue I intended to raise in respect of 93. It's important because it would appear, Mr. Matlala, that you have adopted this posture regarding almost all the issues or the persons you've been asked about. If we go then, before I forget, that is the conclusion of the supplementation of his statement. You confirm that that paragraph 94 is the end of your affidavit.
Yes, I confirm.
So then you have given your supplementation. So then,
Ms. Silo,
Yes.
I don't want to get ahead of you because it may be that you're still coming there. When I looked at 2.2 of the 10-6 notice read with Schedule 1, according to my reading, item 5, the person who appears as number 5, there's still not answer to the question in 2.2. Because 2.2 said, explain your history and or relationship, direct or indirect, with the listed law enforcement officials in Schedule A. And then when you go to Schedule A, it lists 28 people.
yes.
But on my reading of both affidavits, I thought it was an omission in the first one. And the second one was supposed to supplement. But I don't see in the second one where it deals with the name in item 5, unless I've missed it.
No, Commissioner, you haven't. Mr. Matlala, you understand, we referred to Schedule 1 and the Regulation 10-6 notice, correct?
Okay.
We discussed the people listed in that document at
Okay.
page 7. And you will recall that in your original statement, when you, from page 12, you then dealt with, at paragraph 14, you dealt with a cluster of persons, 13 of them, from General Masemola to Major General Temba, about whom you said you will not be able to say anything regarding your relationship with them because they are your co-accused in the Medicare matter.
Okay.
From paragraph 15, you then dealt with some of the remaining persons on that list. You see that?
Yeah.
And there you dealt with Minister Mkunu, Patlane, General Patlane, General Mkwanazi, General Fani, and General Khan. You see that?
Yes, I do.
Now, in your supplementary statement, you then deal, or you purported to deal with the remainder of the persons you had not spoken of. And in this regard, as we looked at your statement, you, at paragraph 71, page 14, you once again deal with Minister Mkunu. You deal with former Minister Bekitele. You deal with, once again, with General Pashane at 15. You once again deal with General Mkwanazi. And you deal, followed by General Fani and General Koza. This is the affidavit we've just looked at. General Khan. He did sound. There has to be an explanation, Chair, somewhere on my papers there must be a causa. I apologize for that, General Khan. So you deal with those at your paragraph 71, starting at page 14 of the affidavit. You see that?
Yes, I do.
Then we went further in your affidavit at page 18 from page 17 from paragraph 89. You deal with Mr. Msibi, the late. You deal with Mr. Van Veek. Once again, Mr. Mkhotsi, and then you deal with Messrs. Hangwani Maumela and Mr. Suleiman and Suleiman Karim.
Yes, I see that.
Now you confirm, if you go back to your annex Schedule A, that item 5 required you to speak about your relationship with Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibia. And the question posed by Commissioner Kumalo is that even in your supplementary statement, quote unquote, you have failed once again to deal with your relationship with General Sibia. You note that?
Yes, I do.
I think then perhaps this might be your opportunity to explain to the commissioners why you elected, notwithstanding that you were given a further opportunity to deal with that relationship in the terms as requested of you.
Oh, firstly, if we can remember, Commissioner, you asked me about, this goes to General Sibia, but I need to take you back. You asked me about my interactions with General Mkwanazi. What was it that was discussed during the meeting? And I only told you about the Medicare tender and the warrant. So, and I said some of the things I could not talk about them because I wouldn't want to prematurely disclose my defense strategy. Because if you go back, and now I mentioned about General Sibia, and the very same recordings that I was talking about, his name has been mentioned there. And I said, those recordings are under investigation, and I do not know what actually are they investigating me about in those recordings. So I did not say anything about him because I did not want to somehow end up incriminating myself.
I think, Mr. Matlala, the question is, what is your relationship with this person? So it has nothing to do with offenses that are under investigation and the possibility of self-incrimination. You are being asked to explain your history and or relationship. Take Mr. Van Veek, for example. You've set out what your history and relationship is with him. Then you say, because he's a witness in the Medicare matter, you won't say anything further. But in relation to General Sibia, you don't even say you know him. You don't even say you have a history with him.
Okay.
And that is separate from whatever issues are being investigated and may be the subject of criminal proceedings. So I would expect you to please answer the question, what is your history and relationship with General Sibia? And then at a stage where you need to assert your privilege, you may do so. But I cannot accept that you are not even able to say, I know the person.
I understand, Commissioner. So I will say I know him because of at some point I went to his office to make a complaint about the occupation of the lease agreement that I had with Public Works. So that is the first time that I got to know of him.
The what of the lease?
The lease agreement, I had a lease with Public Works for the hospital that is situated inside SAPS College, which is in Pretoria West. So, and then I couldn't occupy that hospital. So that was my first time that I went to him to complain about that.
Perhaps to assist you, please let's go to the Regulation 10.6 itself, because specific questions are posted there in respect of each individual that is listed in Schedule A. So if you could consider all the questions set out in subparagraphs 2.2.1 to 2.2.7, can we invite you to answer each one in relation specifically to General Sibia? That might help Commissioner
Sorry,
Khumalo.
Commissioner, can you please clarify that again?
Please, let's go to the Regulation 10.6 in the same file that contains your statement. The first document should be the Regulation 10.6 notice.
Yes.
And if we go to page 3 of that file, at sub 2.2, it reads, explain your history and or relationship, direct or indirect, with the listed law enforcement officials in Schedule A attached hereto. In your response, you are required to provide the following information, and then it is set out in further subs 1 to 7 at page 4.
May I make this request, Mr. Law? Can you please read all those sub-paragraphs, but instead of individuals or officials, specifically refer in each instance to General Sibia?
I shall do so, Chair.
And then, so you refer to 2.2.1, we wait for an answer.
I shall do so,
All the
Chair.
way down. Thank you.
Thank you. So, but you have reacquainted yourself with paragraph 2.2. You understand what it requires of you.
Of course.
Yes. So then, back to Commissioner Khumalo's question, we are talking about your relationship now specifically with General Sibia, and we are going to consider each question in turn and have you speak and respond thereto, but confining your response only to your relationship with General Sibia, you understand?
I do.
Then the first question would be at paragraph 2.2.1, and then in this context would read, when and how did you meet General Sibia? If introduction was a third party, please provide the details of such a party.
When our 2023 or 20, we still on General Sibia, right?
Yes, only.
Yes. It was in January 2023 or 2024, I don't remember well.
Okay.
And then by how, I already explained how I met him.
No, you haven't. You say you met him when you went to raise the issue of the lease agreement regarding the hospital at the Subs College. That doesn't speak to the how. So I'm sure if I tried to go to that office, they won't grant me access. How did you gain access there?
Okay.
How did you secure that meeting to get the opportunity to put your gripe to him? Why did he entertain your visit? That's the kind of detail required. So if you could help us with that.
Yes, it's because I sent him an email
Okay.
and then requested for a meeting. And his email address was given to me by Sergeant Vusi.
Yes.
That's, I think that will answer by a third party who made the introduction.
So it was Sergeant Vusi who made the introductions.
Yes.
Okay. The second then is at 2.2.2, the nature or description of your relationship with General Sibia.
I do not have a relationship with him.
Maybe not now, but let's say from the date you met him until the date of your arrest. What was the nature of your relationship? with him, the description, nature or description of your relationship?
I do not know how to answer this question, Commissioner. You say nature,
Were you friends?
no.
So your engagements with him, what were they? Were you engaging with him as a policeman, as what?
The engagement, hence I said, is something which is under investigation, which I cannot, yes, there are engagements, but it's something that is under investigation and partly some charges that I'm currently facing. So for me to explain that to you, I have to go deep in and then explain the nature of the charges that I'm currently facing that involves him.
Let me ask you this. Are you not able to say, these are the examples of the engagements I had with him? With this ones, there are no issues. But this one, I know that there's an investigation, so I assert my privilege. I would have a difficulty if you said, even when you met him at his office, to lay charges or to complain about service delivery. You're not going to tell us about it.
But that I've already done it.
Now, you mentioned one incident when you met with him to discuss the public works issue.
Yes.
So that was one.
Yeah, of
And
course.
the question I asked you was, from that moment until the date of your arrest, what was the nature and description of your relationship?
That's something that I cannot go into because it's under investigation. I cannot go into that.
Did you, after you had met him for the first time, did the two of you socialize? Maybe meet at ceremonies, functions?
You mean the first time?
Did after you had met him for the first time, after,
Yes, I met him.
did you socialize?
Socialize, meaning
meet at
meeting at a social
ceremonies,
gathering.
meet
Yeah,
at ceremonies, functions?
yes.
And what sort of gatherings or ceremonies?
It was an engagement party, I think.
Whose engagement?
I don't know whether it's his daughter or his son. I'm not sure about that. But it's between the two. I'm not sure whether it was the daughter or the son.
All right.
Thank you, Commissioners. You say, I will say it is under investigation, and of course I speak subject to your correction. You can't talk about your relationship with General Sibiya because what is under investigation exactly? Is it your relationship with General Sibiya that is under investigation?
Is the contents of what is in the recordings regarding General Sibiya and also is in relation with the Medicare tender.
So what is under investigation insofar as your relationship with General Sibiya is concerned is regarding the Medicare tender?
Yes, that's correct.
And anything else?
Like the contents that are in the recordings.
What does that mean, Mr. Matlala?
Chairperson, for me to explain that, I have to obviously now speak about what is in the content of those recordings.
You see, what I'm trying to understand is you are asserting a right, right? And the right you seek to assert is the right not to self-incriminate. Now, logic dictates that you can only self-incriminate in a specific offense. Do you understand what I'm saying, at least?
I hear you.
Okay. Now, what you seek to do, you say you can't talk of a relationship generally with this particular person because there is a risk you will incriminate yourself. That then raises the next question, incriminate yourself in what? You must be able to articulate that for the commissioners to accept that, yes, indeed, you do face such a risk. So you're going to have to articulate you're going to have to explain exactly what the offense is.
The offense...
Perhaps let me just explain where Ms. Silo is coming from. There is a decision by the Constitutional Court And sitting here in a legal context, we are bound by those decisions. There is a decision by the Constitutional Court that says if someone is asserting the privilege that you are asserting, what they say must be within clearly defined contours or parameters. They cannot just in general say, I'm asserting my privilege against self-incrimination. So it's on that basis or at that level that Ms. Sillo is engaging you. Do you follow that? So you cannot just say, because issues relating to Mr. Or General Sibia somehow relate to the Medicare 24 contract, I'm not willing to answer any question relating to that because I might incriminate myself. That may not fall within what the Constitutional Court prescribed. So it's on that basis that Ms. Sillo is engaging you. Are you in a position to respond, or do you want Ms. Sillo to repeat the question?
So saying that it's because of the Medicare tender, it does not justify why I cannot comment on that. So I should explain, is fraud, is money laundering. So I do not know how I should explain that. I don't know.
Okay, let's try it this way. You are facing a criminal charge in respect of Medicare 24 tender.
Yes.
General Sibia is not.
Yes.
What bearing does your relationship with General Sibia have on that charge you are facing when he's not your co-accused?
He's not my co-accused, but
Yes.
He's been investigated
By who?
by IDEC,
In what case? For what crime? What offense?
the Medicare tender.
And what is the proof of that when he is already not part of the litany of accused who are now being charged for the Medicare tender? So you have about these 14, 15 people who are already facing criminal charges. Now you say by IDEC, initiated by IDEC, and you say he is still under investigation. On what basis do you so say? Because one would have expected that he formed part of this cohort of accused persons, which he doesn't.
Yes, I do not know why he's not part of the...
Then how do you know he's under investigation?
Because I've been questioned about him, and also I have made a statement under Section 204 when I was being questioned about him.
You were questioned about him in respect of Medicare 24?
Yes.
Okay. I'll accept that. But what does that have to do with the fact that he's your friend? I'm sure you were questioned, and I suggest to you, about certain conduct. His conduct. Was that not the extent of the questioning?
Of course.
So that conduct, you don't need to be friends for that conduct to raise questions and be subjected to investigation. We are not discussing his conduct. We are discussing your relationship with him. Why can't you comment on that without necessarily saying anything about his conduct, which you suggest IDEC is investigating?
Commissioner, I've already commented on that. I don't know whether you want me to say, I told you he was not my friend. He's not my friend. But there is an investigation that is going on. So I do not know what is it that you say I cannot comment on. Unless now, if you want me to explain what is it exactly that IDEC is investigating him for.
No, that's not my question, because you want that to be my question. I'm staying away from that question. I do not accept, just for the record, that he's under investigation, because you haven't even proven that he's under investigation. Your say-so is not enough. It's not your get-out-of-jail card to refuse to answer a question simply because you suggest somebody else, or you suggest that there is an investigation, and there is not a morsel of proof before us that there is such an investigation. It is no answer, but that's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you about your relationship with the man, and that you describe the relationship. Is it a long-term relationship initiated on that particular date when you You went to complain about the hospital, the SAPS hospital. Does it sustain? Has it broken down? Was it very close? Was it a business relationship? I'm giving you. And you see, so far, I haven't even gotten anywhere close to what IDEC is investigating him for. And I'm demonstrating that you can answer that question without reference to what you claim IDEC is investigating him for.
Okay, then which question do you want me to answer?
Please describe in your own words the relationship you have with General Sibia you had, and if it has since changed, when it changed, and the one you currently maintain with him.
The relationship that I had with him, it was not like a friendship relationship.
Okay? Well, if it was not like something, it has to be like another. What was it like?
Now you're pushing me to say something that I do not know what I will say, because he was not a friend, yes. And for me to go further, is the only way to do that then is to go now into the contents of the investigation, which I do not want to tap in that territory.
Okay, let's.
Was he an acquaintance?
He's someone that I knew.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps then let's continue. It might become clearer in time for the commissioners, the nature of relationship. Staying then with the regulation 10.6 at 2.2.3, page 3, that's where I'm reading. The 10.6 required you, in respect of General Sibia, to explain the nature, extent, and frequency of your communications with him.
Communications, it was maybe once when I went to his office.
Okay. And by communications, direct or otherwise? Have you
Yeah.
communicated with him directly, and have you communicated with him indirectly? When we talk about indirectly, please explain the method of communication you conducted then.
Directly, yes, through, I sent him an email.
Yes.
That was the first time. I've never called him directly. So I only spoke with him, I think, I will say 3 or 4 months. I'm just saying on top of my head, I cannot remember well. Maybe I'll say 3 or 4 months after I first met him. And then the communication then was through a third party, the very same Sergeant Nkosi.
And how frequent was that communication?
Frequent, plus minus 3 or 4 times.
And what was the communication about?
Let's leave it there, because that is the part of the investigation.
Is the engagement party you attended of his daughter or son, are you seriously suggesting it's part of IDEC's investigation?
Yes, it is.
In what manner? As to who engaged who and why, or why?
I think I'll have to discuss with my legal counsel, because I'm in possession of my 204 statement. The only way for you to understand that is for you to see the statement, but it is.
I think then it would help for the commissioners to understand the basis on which you seek to assert this right? Because the attitude you are adopting is, you cannot ask me about General Sibia because IDEC is investigating something somewhere.
But Commissioner, fairly speaking, I have to go to court and account on this, so I cannot now ventilate anything that is to do with him, especially something that is already being under investigation. I do not know even whether he will be charged or not. So chances are he might not even be charged. I don't know that. But currently myself, I'm charged, and I have to go to court and account for these things. So I don't think it's fair for me now to speak about something which I'm not sure at the end of the day whether I'll have to account for that or not.
You see, the challenge I have, Mr. Matlala, is I think you conflate yourself with General Sibia. You are not General Sibia. You are facing charges for your conduct. And we haven't done anything to even stray into that discussion. We're talking about something separate, which is your relationship with yet a third party who's not charged with you. So I don't understand, in the current criminal case that you are facing, how you'll be called to account for your relationships with, including General Sibia. How does that come into play?
It actually does.
How?
I don't know how because I'm not an investigator.
Okay, then I'll tell you that it doesn't. You cannot even, I won't even say prove, it's too high a threshold. You cannot even persuade the commissioners that it is relevant for purposes of the current criminal case you are facing. You are not able to. You accept that?
I do not accept that.
Okay, then if you don't accept that, then demonstrate to these commissioners that relationship is relevant to the charges you currently are facing.
I think I've just said it that the only way for me to demonstrate that is for me to now to get right inside the cracks of the matter, which is something that I cannot do.
Then I'll put this proposition to you, that you don't want to talk about the nature, extent, frequency of your communications with General Sibia, because if you do, you are at risk of incriminating yourself in some offense, because by their very nature, they would be breaching the law. That's my proposition to you. What's your response?
I cannot argue with you on that.
Okay.
That's how you see it.
Then,
Sorry, before you move
Yes.
on, Mr. Matlala, in describing the nature of the communications with General Sibia, you have a number of options, and without getting into the detail of it, and I don't intend to repeat what Ms. Silla has said to you, because ultimately the Commission must be satisfied that you have correctly asserted the privilege against self-incrimination. And for us to do that, we need to know what it is that you avoided talking to, not in general terms, general broad terms, but specifically. Having said that, when I say you have a number of options, I can put this to you as an example. You have had interactions with General Sibia. We know you sent an email, you went to the office, and you do say it had to do with the lease. I think it's competent to ask you, have you had any interactions with him about the Medicare contract, still at general terms? And if you're asked what exactly, you can say, I wanted help to resolve the lease issue. You testified in the ad hoc committee, for example. You said you interacted with him about the kidnappings of, I think, Mr. Bushocha and Mr. Dekale. That has nothing to do with your Medicare contract. And if you don't speak to that, then you are not being frank with us. If you don't say, well, other things that have nothing to do with the Medicare contract I've dealt with him, then you're not being frank with us. The chairperson said to you, asked you, have you socialized with him? And it had to be put, it had to be dragged to you, in my opinion, for you to say, yeah, we had an engagement. So there are topics that demonstrate or would explain and say something about your interactions with General Sibia, and they have nothing to do with Medicare. And there's no basis or valid basis for you not to speak to those when you're asked to explain your interactions with General Sibia.
I think also what Commissioner Balwa is referring to, I think we have had sight of the ad hoc committee transcript. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's in that transcript where you say, in fact, you contradict what General Sibia said before us here. You say you attended the engagement function, and that you did not go there just to pick up your wife, which is what General Sibia told us. You say you attended that, and as I understand it, you attended as an invitee, and you were there for a period much longer than just going there to pick up your wife. So I'm raising that in support of what Commissioner Baloyi is saying, which is there is a lot you can talk about, and I do not see how it's incriminating for you to tell us that you went to the engagement party and also to contradict General Sibia on what he himself said about your attendance there.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, it's not only the Medicare tender. Like I said before, it's also the contents of the recordings which are also putting me at the risk of self-incrimination. So I do not know how is the approach of, I cannot tell now as I sit here what is the approach of the investigation. I do not know that. So when I testified in the other committee, by then I was not yet charged or even being under investigation. So now it's a different thing now. I'm charged and I'm also under investigation.
You have only two bases on which you assert that privilege. You are either an accused or you're a suspect. There's no all-encompassing protection or umbrella that you say, well, I know it's being investigated and I don't know which way it will go. That's not what that protection that is given to you is all about. That protection applies if you show that I'm an accused on this issue, this very issue, and so I shouldn't be required to speak to it because I'll self-incriminate. That is the easier part. The other is I'm a suspect. But even there, you have to provide details because, as Ms. Silla says, it's not your say-so. You know, you don't just say, I'm a suspect, and that's the end of it. We are entitled to engage you to establish that indeed you are a suspect. Because if you're a suspect, of course, we have to be careful what we ask you if you are asserting that privilege and how we engage with you. So those are the two topics. That something is in the recordings is not sufficient to invoke that protection for you. You can't simply say, well, it's in the recordings and those recordings are being challenged and I don't know how they are going to use those recordings, therefore I should not be required to answer those questions. I think you can accept that if the privilege is properly invoked, if you rely on it properly, on the correct facts, the commissioners will give it proper regard. Because we wouldn't want to impinge on your fair trial rights. You can accept that, but the burden is on you to show us that an answer to a particular question will tread into your fair trial rights, and we must respect that. So far, you're speaking in you're dealing with matters in very broad and general terms, and that doesn't avail you. It's not available to you. But more importantly, you are either a suspect, and you have to show why you say you're a suspect in a particular matter, or you're an accused. Those are the only two circumstances. I don't know if you want to comment.
Yes, I wish to, Commissioner. I said I will make sure that I get the transcript from the pre-trial to prove that I'm actually a suspect in those recordings. And I will say again that in those recordings, I did not know to which extent they're going to investigate. So I do not want to be careless by saying something that will later incriminate me. But that is a fact that I am under investigation for those recordings, and then I will prove it by getting those transcripts so that you will know that actually I am a suspect.
do you accept that we have to have those transcripts presented to us? They must be engaged upon with you. They must be before us. You must look at them. We must engage with them in order for us to agree with you on any item. It's not everything that's in the recording. I take it that you say is untouchable. But even if that's what you're saying, that everything in that recording is untouchable, you do accept, at least I think I understand you, to accept that those recordings would have to be before us, and then to engage with you when you say, that part, if I deal with it, I'm self-incriminating. You accept that?
The recordings, I do not want to deal with them because they are under investigation. What I wanted to do is bring the transcript to show that those recordings are being investigated.
Transcript of the recordings.
I'm sorry, I meant to say the contents of the recordings, yes.
That's what you mean when you say transcript. You mean the contents.
I said I will bring the transcripts to prove that what is in the recordings, I'm actually being investigated for that. So for me to prove that is to bring the transcripts.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify the transcript of what?
Of the recordings. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The transcript of the pre-trial where the state advocate mentioned that I am under investigations in regards to those recordings.
Okay. All right, but you've heard me, what I said earlier.
Yes,
that
I did.
We would have to hear, as per question or topic, we need to see that indeed, if you are required to answer a question, a specific question relating to that topic, then it does validly raise the self-incrimination defense.
I take that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps if we could see if we can quickly work through this list. We now get to sub 2.2.4, which required you to comment on the nature, extent, and frequency of physical meetings and/or gatherings with General Sibia, including when, where, and how these meetings were organized. Provide details of the persons in attendance and as well as the purpose for each such meeting. So if we look at 2.2.4, can you tell the commissioners how frequently you met with General Sibia and under what circumstances?
I will say maybe 3 or 4 times.
Can you deal with each incident as to the purpose of that meeting and how it came about?
The first time I've already mentioned it. And the second time is when I was going to get a feedback of what I was complaining about.
And how did you get that feedback? Where and?
I went to his office also.
Once again?
Yes.
And this was to get feedback on?
The public works lease agreement.
Okay. And who arranged that particular meeting for you?
Sergeant, I think it's Sergeant Ngosi.
Sergeant Ngosi. Do you know, how did Sergeant Ngosi communicate with you that he has succeeded in arranging this meeting?
He had my telephone number.
Say that?
He had my phone number.
You still don't tell me how he communicated with you.
I'm saying he called me.
Okay. Now,
And when he called you, did he call to say General Sibia wants to meet with you to give you feedback? Because it's Ngosi that calls you.
Yes.
Is that how it happened? Thank you. You said yes, Mr. Matlala.
Yes, yes.
oh, I too had missed the answer, sorry. So that is the second time. Now, the next time?
I think I will confuse the timelines because it's a long time ago, but
Okay.
there was an occasion where he asked me about the Jerry Boshoga, so I do not know whether it was the third or the fourth time. I don't
Okay.
know that.
Now, can you tell us more about that engagement? How it came about and who initiated it?
He initiated it, yes.
Directly with you or through Sergeant Kosi again?
Like I said before, he never called me even once.
Okay, through who did he do this?
With Sergeant Ngosi.
And what about Jerry Boshoga did he want to engage you on?
I think it was after the raid from my house, because the police came to my house and then they said that they were looking for a kidnapped victim.
Okay.
And then later I just don't know, I can't remember when, but at some point I went to him and then that's when he asked me that, what do I know about that?
Oh, you went to him?
Yes,
Is it back at the office now?
yes.
Who helped you to set up that meeting?
I said it was Sergeant Ngosi.
No, the Sergeant Kosi, remember we stopped counting and I do accept that it's a long time, so you won't exactly know whether it's the second or third. Sergeant Kosi organized for you to get the feedback on the lease agreement. That much you said. So now this is yet another meeting and you didn't want to commit as to whether it's the third or the fourth. This is regarding Mr. Boshoga. You said he initiated it. You said the General Sibia initiated it and you said he did so through Sergeant Kosi.
Yes, I said,
And you said you went to him
yes,
at his offices.
yes,
And so he requested to meet you.
yes.
What about? Did he explain?
Are we still on?
On Mr. Boshoga, yes.
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 Yes, it was about that. He asked me what I know about that.
So then, if I understand your communication channel, he would ask Sergeant Gosi what you know about that. Sergeant Gosi would ask you in turn what you know, that General Sibia wants to know what you know about that. Your response would be, no, I don't know much, or I know whatever, and then is that how the communication works?
Oh, no.
Oh, please enlighten me.
He asked him to arrange a meeting, then I went to him,
Okay.
and then that's when he told me.
So he initiated this engagement with you?
Yes.
Do you know in what capacity he did so? Was he investigating this kidnapping, or was it as an interested person, as a relative? Do you have a sense of why he reached out to you on this matter?
Yeah, I think he was, because what he said to me, but I don't know what to make out of that, but he said if he can crack that case, it will help him a lot. So I don't think it was because of he was a relative or something.
Okay. So he initiated this contact for purposes of investigation?
I think so, yes.
Now, if that would be in his official capacity, I take it, as a police officer, I think a senior ranking member of the service.
Yes,
It
he
would be
was.
official.
I don't know how we'll justify it to be official, but he just called me as a police officer, so I don't know.
And that's precisely what I'm trying to determine. It's a police officer.
Yes,
You have been questioned about the kidnapping of Mr. Boshoga. I take it was not by him the first time when you say they came to your residence.
yes, yeah.
So now we know that he subsequently becomes involved in it by requesting a meeting with you. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Hence my question, did you understand him to be investigating that disappearance of Mr. Boshoga? What was your understanding? What process were you engaging in, seeing as so far you had just met him twice about the lease agreement?
But as a senior police official, maybe he will refer the investigation to someone else. I don't know how it works, but what I know that he called me and then he asked me questions in relation with Mr. Boshoga.
So you don't know whether he was doing that as an investigator into the kidnapping?
I cannot tell that. I don't know.
Okay. And were you able to respond to his questions to satisfy his curiosity?
I think so, yes.
Now, we would have said that's your third meeting, but you did say that it was some time ago, so now you're no longer so sure. I will just talk about the next contact you had with him. When was the next, and who initiated it, and where, and what about?
Okay, let me say this, because all of his requests to meet him was through Sergeant Nkosi. So from now on, whenever he called me, it's through Sergeant Nkosi.
Okay.
Yes.
So then, before you get to my question, if he was an investigator in this Mr. Bushoka's disappearance, shouldn't he have contacted you directly? Isn't that what investigators do? Couldn't you have obtained your number from Mr. Nkosi and say, I, as a general in the police service, I need to talk with Mr. Matlala for whatever reason, because I'm investigating a kidnapping? Why couldn't he contact you directly?
That I cannot answer. I don't know that.
So you did make the point that all future and past contact with him was initiated through Mr. Nkosi. As a matter of interest, did you ever inquire why or who made Mr. Nkosi the intermediary between the two of you?
Yes, I think it's Mr. Nkosi himself who started this thing.
How does he do that?
Because he's the one who gave me his, his email address.
Yes, the first time I can understand, but why couldn't you then have your direct contact with General CB after that, after the initial contact? Why did you always need to work through Sergeant Nkosi?
I do not know that, but that's what was happening. I don't know that.
It never crossed your mind that by now you are on your fourth contact, the one we're going to discuss next, that perhaps your relationship has developed to a point where you can contact each other directly?
Commissioner, when that thing was happening, obviously I wouldn't know by then, but now I will understand why that was happening. But unfortunately, what was happening is something that I cannot speak about. I think I requested that some part of my evidence I will request, because I'm under investigation. I'm really under investigation. I'm not making this up. So I asked that maybe if it's possible that I can, some of my testimony can be in private, because I cannot risk incriminating myself. That I cannot do.
Does Mr. Bushoka's kidnapping have anything to do with Medicare 24, which we know is the case you are currently facing in
Medicare
court?
24?
Yeah. You have always invoked Medicare 24, and I'm interested to find out now whether Medicare 24 is relevant to the issue of the kidnapping of Mr. Bushoka.
No, it's not.
Okay, so Medicare 24 is out of the way. So what is the basis on which you cannot speak? You say you're under investigation by who and for what?
I'm saying, we're speaking about General CBA now. I think your question is in relation to General CBA. I'm saying I'm being investigated, and then I'm also charged for in relation with the Medicare tender, and also the recordings that I mentioned.
You hit your mic.
Sorry.
Thank you.
The recordings that I mentioned earlier, that also his name is been mentioned there. So I'm saying this because I know for sure that there is an investigation going on in relation with those recordings, and also I've been questioned about him by IDEC.
IDEC?
Yes.
Okay, perhaps if we look at it this way, to your understanding, what is General CBA being investigated for? And by who?
Now, for me to do that, obviously, I need to disclose the nature of the investigation and my case.
No, that's not. What is he being investigated for?
Yes,
offense?
Yes, that offense. For me to mention that offense, I'm saying now I have to speak about what I'm trying to avoid.
No, that's very cryptic.
Can I
Yes.
try? Mr. Matlala, you reference to IDEC investigating General Sibia. Is it about, does it relate to Mr. Bushoha? That you can answer.
No, I said it does not relate to that.
It doesn't relate to
Yes.
him. Does it relate to the Medicare contract?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's the point I made. I said we'll stay off Medicare 24, but you can talk about the kidnapping of Mr. Bushoha that General Sibia investigated, and in the course of investigation, he engaged you. What's that got to do with Medicare 24? Nothing, right?
No, we're not speaking about, it's two things here. So Medicare 24 is a separate thing. So when you call me about Mr. Bushoha, it has nothing to do with Medicare 24. It's something different.
So which means then we can talk about what your engagement regarding the kidnapping of Mr.
Yes, of
Bushoha.
course, we can.
Yes, so let's continue talking about it then. Chair, I'm looking at the time, perhaps a comfort break, I don't know. I appreciate we started late, so I don't think it's appropriate to stop at this juncture, otherwise we'll run into trouble time-wise.
Let's take, what? Let's adjourn and come back at 4:10.
Thank you.